Alright, so I tried to film this on Facebook Live earlier and it didn't work, so here we are again. So it is February 10. It is a little bit later than normal because of the interruptions. Um, the lighting's a little bit weird doing it this way, but oh well. So today we are in Psalm 23, and I'm just going to read it kind of verse by verse and make a couple of comments on it. And so David begins by saying this. He says that the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. And David begins by saying that God is a shepherd. He's a good shepherd. And John, Jesus continues this metaphor that God is a shepherd and that he's a good shepherd. And that this shepherd, he leads us into green pastures, into places of provision. He leads us into places of new revelation of himself and his goodness. And that he leads us beside still waters. That he is constantly refreshing us and giving us new insights and wisdoms into who he is and what he's like. In verse 3 he says that he restores my soul, that he leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. That God is always guiding us into new insights. He's always leading us on the right path, and as long as that we stay with him on the path, we're going to know where to make the right turns. We're going to have the wisdom that we need for the day. We're going to have the discernment for the decisions that we need to make. And that he restores our soul, that he refreshes us, he gives us strength, because we need strength for the journey. Sometimes we can find ourselves exhausted, and it's in our relationship with him that we find new strength and the ability to continue forward on the path. He then says that, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that I will fear no evil, for you are with me, that your rod and your staff, they comfort me. And that oftentimes in life, as we travel through life, there are moments where it feels as if life is collapsing on us, that we're walking through this valley of the shadow of death, and that in those places we have the tendency to want to sit down, we want to lay down, we want to stay there. But the shepherd, he makes us walk through them. He walks with us through them, and he prods us with his rod and his staff, pushing us through those hard places, so we don't have to fear any evil in those places because he is with us. He comforts us. He then says that you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies, that you anoint my head with oil, and that my cup runs over. And that even in the hard times, even in the struggles, even when it seems as if the enemies are surrounding us, that we can be at peace. That we can be at peace and sit at a table and eat. A table of God's blessing. That I was in the Marines, and just kind of a side note, but when you're in a battle, you don't sit down to eat. You don't have time. But in the battle that we find ourselves with God, that there's protection, not with God, but with him in the sense that he's with us. That there's a protection, that we can still find blessing even in the midst of battle. And then finally he says that surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That in this life, as we travel through, that goodness and mercy are always pursuing us, that they're always with us. God's goodness and his mercy. And that there's a day where we will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That this journey is heading somewhere. The shepherd is guiding us to his house, where we can spend the rest of our days with him. And so, it's a great psalm. Today is Friday, and so it's Step Out in Faith Friday. And so perhaps for you, there's something that you need to do to step out in faith, God's calling you towards. And so do that. Today's a great day to do that. So no devotions Saturday and Sunday. So we will see you guys on Monday. Hope you have a great weekend. Love you. Bye.